To undo your purl or knit stitches one at a time, set your knitting up so that the stitches are on your right hand needle and your empty needle is in the left hand, or at least that your working yarn is on the right hand needle. That's the most important. Tension your yarn however you normally do to knit. Since I knit continental, I'll do it in the left hand, although I will show you American style. Alright, so just looking at your stitches, we have some knit and some purl stitches. There's ribbing there, we have purl stitches, so I'll show you how to take out all kinds of stitches. So take the left hand needle, insert it into the stitch underneath the stitch on your right hand needle, right into that empty space right there, and move that whole little group off onto the left hand needle, pull the right hand needle tip out, and then lastly give the yarn in your left hand or your working yarn a tug, and the old stitch will fall out and you'll have the previous stitch on your left hand needle. So let's look at that again, and just keep the yarn out of the way. It doesn't really matter if it's to the front or to the back, just move it out of the way and take the left hand needle, insert it into the stitch below the one on the right hand needle, all the way in like that. Scoot the right hand needle out of the stitch and then tug the working yarn and the stitch will just fall out. And that's how to remove stitches one by one. So if you are an American style knitter, you'll tension your yarn in the right hand, and since we've been purling here, the yarn will be to the front. But you'll see that it really doesn't matter whether it's a purl stitch or a knit stitch. It's the same procedure. Insert the tip of the left hand needle into that empty space below the stitch that's on the needle, move everything over to the left hand needle carefully, and then pull the working yarn and the stitch will pop off, and it will come out to the front because we've been purling, and that's totally fine. So just to do it a couple more times, the left hand needle goes into the empty space under the stitch on the right hand needle, move the whole group of stitches over, and then tug your yarn. And it's okay that the yarn is in the back there, it really doesn't matter. You can put it to the front or the back, just keep it out of the way because we're going to undo that stitch anyway. So needle goes into that space below the stitch, move things over and tug it out. And so you'll get faster as you get comfortable. There's no reason to go quickly until you're ready. Last purl stitch into the space, move everything over and tug it out. So you can see it becomes sort of a fluid motion. So here we have a knit stitch. You can see it looks more like a V-neck sweater than a turtleneck. But the procedure is the same. Into that empty stitch, move everything over, tug the yarn. And here we have a purl stitch because we're doing ribbing. And it's okay that the yarn is to the back of the right needle, it doesn't matter. Find that empty space, slide the whole thing over to the left, and you can do it at the same time, you just tug the yarn. Here we have a knit stitch. The procedure is exactly the same. Insert the needle, the left hand needle into the space below the stitch, and tug your working yarn, moving everything over. I'll show you these last few stitches continental style. Here we have another purl stitch. You can really tug the yarn to open up that stitch if you can't see it. You can just pull on the yarn. You can use your fingers and spread everything open so you can really see where to put your needle so there's no confusion. Last one to take out is a knit stitch. We've successfully taken those out. The last one I actually just slipped anyway. I didn't actually knit the stitch, so we're just going to move it over with the needle tip going into the front to the back there. So that's how to undo knit and purl stitches.